Hi everyone and welcome to a top table gaming video. In this video we are going to be looking at the new Kill Team Octarius box. So join me in a minute. Hi everyone, how are we doing? This is a video about the new Kill Team box set, Octarius. Very cool, very anticipated, I'd like to say, as soon as we start to get teasers and rumours about the death core of Krieg, especially, but I'll come to that in a moment. And yeah, it kind of made my ears perk up a little bit. I did invest in the original Kill Team and built Kill Teams, had a handful of games, then come away for it, and I can't remember for what reason. I think I was going all in on doing changing the battle report style on the channel, and because Middle-earth was the game that I knew and loved inside out, that was what I focused on, so I wasn't trying to learn rules for a new game and learn how to film battle reports. And by the time I'd come back to it, there'd been a lot of expansions released, and I kind of felt like I invested. I've literally got the expansions on one of these shelves somewhere. I invested in the expansions but just never picked it up again. I felt like I'd fell behind the curve, so to speak, and everybody else who I knew that was playing was far ahead, and just felt like not only did I have the original rules to learn, I had another 2 books to try and learn as well. So the news that a new Kill Team was coming out with a whole new sort of from the ground up rebuilt rule set really does appeal to me, because I've always liked the look of Kill Team. Big thank you to Games Workshop for sending me a copy. Really appreciate it. It's very kind. And I thought it was the perfect way to kind of get the juices flowing, get sort of me back up to speed on 40k lore, etc. Especially with the new miniatures are amazing. It's fantastic. When I opened the box and looked at the sprues, it was great. In this video, we're going to give a quick overview and my thoughts of what you get in the box and what we can expect from the new rules. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'll start from the beginning. If you are totally new to, you don't know what Kill Team is, you don't know what 40k is. 40k is so Games Workshop's most popular system. It is based in the 40k universe, which is a futuristic universe with guys in kind of space marines, which are like your soldiers, and there's different factions of space marines, and then there's different alien races and things like that. The forces battle each other, and it's not mass battle, because they do a mass battle version, but the forces are quite large. So to play a standard game, you do need a significant number of models of warriors, and you field them in squads. So it's not just a case of, unless they're like special characters, it's not just a case of each kind of model moves individually, they move as squads. So it's like a mid-sized battle game. Now Kill Team is in the exact same universe with the exact same background, the exact same warriors that you're going to be using, but it's on a smaller scale. It's a skirmish scale. So Kill Team is kind of self-explanatory in the name. You have one squad, if you like, and it could have 4 members in that squad. It could have to maybe, a few more. It's like 6, 7, depending on your faction and your allowance to build that Kill Team. So obviously some factions have more powerful warriors. They'll only be allowed a lesser number of warriors in their Kill Team. And then factions that the warriors aren't as powerful, they'll get to kind of balance that out by having more characters and units in their Kill Team. When the original Kill Team was released, it was basically a narrowed down version of the existing rules for 40k. So a lot of the terminology, a lot of the way things worked were exactly the same as 40k to an extent. The way they've done this rule set, they've chucked everything out of the window and they've redesigned it, like I said, from the ground up. And I just think it's got a really good vibe to it. It's a standalone game now totally, even though it is set in the same world as 40k. It's played entirely differently. There's a few things that are similar, which I think you'd be hard-pressed not to get similarities somewhere. But yeah, the game itself and the rule set itself is totally new, and I quite like the look of it, if I'm honest. So another benefit if you are new to the world is the fact that it's a lot cheaper to get started and get into Kill Team than it is 40k. You don't have to buy as many models. The time put into it isn't as taxing. You've only got a few models to paint, and then you're away. You've got your kill team, 4, 5, 6 models, and you've got a kill team. You can paint them in a couple of evenings in a week and you're ready to go. So the new Octarius box set is jam-packed. I was very surprised when I opened it. There is a lot of terrain and there's a lot of plastic. There's a lot of everything in there. It's a great box. It's a hefty box. I'm not sure of the official price tag yet because we'll find that out, I think, this weekend. But there's a lot in there for sure. You get your Death Corps of Krieg kill team. You get your Orc Commandos kill team, which are brand new models. You can't buy them anywhere. The kill team box set is the only place at the moment that you can get them. And I have to say, they're spectacular. I mean, Games Workshop, I know I drone on a lot sometimes when I talk about Games Workshop and their modelling style, but they are so ahead of everyone else. The sprues, I've been putting some of the Death Corps together because I'm getting ready to play some games. The sprues are spectacular. The way the models go together is spectacular. The detail is insane. They're just amazing, and it just seems to be getting better and better and better. And I think it is a great, great sign of what we're going to get in the future. These are obviously going to be released as separate kill team boxes. Are we going to get newer kill team boxes for the other factions? Well, I think we will eventually. Obviously, at first, we can use the models that are readily available and turn them into kill teams that are from the 40k. But it looks as if this might be going down the road similar to Warcry, where you're actually getting Warcry, they call warbands in Warcry, kill team boxes, which will be amazing. And the customization on them is so good. You're getting sprues in this box. There's so much left on the sprue that you don't use, which is crazy when you think about it, really. But you can make so many different units from one sprue, and I really, really like that. I'm a big believer in making units your own and making models your own rather than everyone having the exact same models on the table. And it's just great, just all the little details and little bits of equipment and things like that. Fantastic. So massive thumbs up, and I doff my cap to the sculptors at Games Workshop because you've done an amazing job with them. And the orcs, never really been into orcs, not really give them a second look. They look fantastic. The character in them is unbelievable. If you're an orc player, you are not going to be disappointed. If anything, I think you'll be scouring eBay to try and pick up these sprues from the scalpers just to make as many different orc units as you can, because they're just amazing. They're fantastic. Obviously, you get the core book, which has got the new rules. It's laid out very, very well. It's quite a thick, heavy book. I think there's 83, I want to say, pages in the book. And of them 83 pages, I think there's about 15 of the actual rules. At the beginning, obviously, you've got a lot of background and a lot of lore, which will help you sort of get into the right mindset to be playing the game and give you an idea of what the game is about, and put you in, like I say, put you in that mindset of playing the games of Kill Team and the world that Kill Team is in. You get 5 sprues of terrain. It's a lot of terrain, and the terrain looks really, really cool, and it's all brand new terrain as well. So it's not terrain, they're not kind of sort of reuse sprues that you can already buy off the shelf. It's all brand new terrain, very, very cool, loads and loads of detail on it. You get your barricades, your templates, all the dice that you'll need, cards, pop-out tokens, your measuring widgets, and literature to do with the book, to do with Octarius, which is like a narrative kind of campaign book. Touching on the widgets, the measurements on the widgets are now shapes. And when this was announced on the Warhammer community releases that we get pretty much daily now, I know there was a few raised eyebrows about it, and why are you using shapes? Why are you making it difficult? Why don't you just put the 6 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, blah, blah, blah. And it did feel a little bit weird when I first read it, but now I've read more into it and I've read a little bit of the rule book. I kind of understand, and it makes a little bit of sense. I'm not going to go too much into the whys and wherefores of why they're doing it. In my opinion, I think it's just to streamline things. So, it's easier to visually see. So if you're flicking through a rule book and you're seeing, oh, it's going to cost me a circle to get over this barricade or walk through this terrain, and you know that circle equates to whatever, 2 inches. It's in your head. You know what it works. So if you know that a unit can move 3 circles, which is 3 times 2 inches, which is 6 inches, to traverse that terrain, they can actually only move a distance of 4. Yes, there's probably people now screaming at their computer screen or TV screen saying, just use the sizes, it's the same. I'm on the fence. It would work either way for me. I can kind of see why they're doing it, and I can kind of see why people who are not used to it are going to find it frustrating at first. But I think it's going to be one of those things where you're quite surprised how quickly it just clicks in your head and it becomes second nature, and yeah, it'll just make life a little bit easier. So don't shoot the messenger, but I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right with the shapes. I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks. So each game is 4 turns, which are called turning points. So 4 turning points, and in each turning point you have different phases: initiation, strategy, and firefight. They're pretty self-explanatory. And the big change here is it's not a case of each turn I have my whole turn and do everything that I can do, and then you have your turn, like it is in 40k and like it was in the last kill team. It's now I go, you go, I go, you go. So it's alternate, which is very familiar to me because I'm a Middle-earth player at heart. And I particularly, especially in skirmish, think it works a lot better because it's reactive. You get to react to things, whereas when it was I do everything, then you do everything, I could start doing something, you look at me doing it and think, oh no, and you know what's going to happen in 10 minutes. You know what I'm going to do. And there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas if I go, you go, there is an element of reaction, and you can kind of counteract the actions that I'm doing and vice versa. And I just think it makes it a little bit more interesting. So that is very, very good. Like we said, there is 4 turning points, and the player with the most victory points, VPs, at the end of those 4 turns is the winner of the game. CPs, or command points, still exist. They're very, very familiar, and you know they're thinking. I think they're something that they couldn't really take out of the game. The game needs that. It's very, very good, and the amount of command points you get depends on the build of your kill team. You'll get a certain amount of points for having certain units in your kill team or doing certain things. You'll get more command points, and the more command points you have, the more times you can use them in game to affect the way that the game plays and the things that you can do within the game. Don't let that confuse you. It's quite simple once you've run through it a few times, but yeah, it's great. It's everything's streamlined in the book, and it's very well written, and it's dead easy to understand. Each operative in your kill team has action points. Action points, let's just say your generic action point value is 2. That means you can do 2 things. So you could, on that unit's turn, you could move and shoot. Yeah, it's the very simplified version. Some units have more action points, and it's all on their card, their profile card, or the stat card, whatever you want to call it. It tells you what they can do and how many times they can do it. They can do different things. The units that can do more are obviously more valuable, and having more of those in your kill team means that you might have lesser numbers in your kill team, but obviously they can, like I say, they can do a lot more. So yeah, it's a system that a lot of games use now, the action point thing, and I think it works very, very well. You have different types of action points. You've got your universal action points, which are a list of things that everyone can do, you know, like you move, you shoot, etc. You then have unique action points, which are unique to the specific unit that is using them. So they might be a specialist in a certain thing. There's action points or actions that they can do that normal units cannot do. You have mission-specific action points. Again, self-explanatory, which are things that you can do within those certain missions. Then you have things called free actions, which don't use any of your action points to be able to do them. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. If you do pick up the box and you're reading through, you'll see exactly what that means. It's not overbearing, it's quite easy to pick up. And again, I just wanted to list the different types of actions that you can do. During the firefight phase and the combat phase, the melee phase, which is the phase where all the stuff happens that dictates how you fare in your missions. You have your stat card, which will tell you the number you need to roll on your d6s to inflict wounds. When rolling on your d6, anything rolled on a 6 counts as a crit. A crit can only be saved by a defense roll of another crit or 2 normal hits. There's sometimes, like when you overcharge, a 5 and 6 become a crit as well, which is awesome, but there is also a deficit to that. There is a risk involved in overcharging your weapons. old players of 40k will totally understand what that means, and it's high risk, high reward, but it's well worth doing sometimes, and can sometimes you win the game, other times can shoot yourself in the foot. You have to make that decision, and that's part of the fun. Weapon skill and ballistic skill will make complete sense to seasoned players from 40k or the old kill team, but it's really simple to keep track of. Once you've played a few combat turns, it'll be like second nature. You'll know exactly what it is. You're just comparing different stats to see what number you need to wound, etc. Melee works in a very similar way, except it is far more brutal. Hand-to-hand combat is kind of the bit where things are going to die. With shooting, there's not really a risk. You know, you're the other side of the battlefield. You might be sniping. You're trying to ping shots off at your opponent. With melee, you're hitting them, but you stood right in front of them. You are going to get a hit back, and it's a case of you have to make the decision as to whether your successful hits are attacks or parries, and you both have to do this, and it becomes like a bit of a mind game as to whether are you more concentrating on inflicting damage to the unit that you're fighting or saving the unit that you're controlling at that moment in time. Some of the scenarios have objectives. If you get two opposing units in on an objective, that has an imaginary kind of zone of control. If there is one of each faction over the objective, the one that controls it is the one with the highest action points in their profile. There is also action points to pick up objectives and move with them, and he'll have them until he is incapacitated and will drop the objective. Terrain's really big in this game. It was in the last kill team, but I think certain things didn't really work as well as the designers would have liked. So you have different styles of terrain, or different categories of terrain, really is how I should put it. You've got heavy, light, traversable, vantage points and barricades, and they're all pretty self-explanatory, and the only difference is A, what they do to line of sight and cover, and B, how much of your movement it takes to get in or around or up on top of them. And because there's categories, there's not really going to be any of those discussions where it's like, well, what kind of terrain is that? It's going to be fairly obvious. The breakdown is fairly obvious. You'll agree it before the game, and that's how it is. As in most games, you've got different play styles. So you've got open play, where it's just you put down on the board what you've got, your friend puts down what they've got, and you duke it out, and you just have a little bit of fun with it. There's narrative play, which is more story-driven. You know, you can reenact scenes from the lore, from books that you've read, etc., or from a campaign book. You can do one-off missions from there where the story is already set for you and you're trying to achieve something. And sometimes in those narrative missions, the sides or the layout of the game may not be 50-50, it might not be a level playing field, but that's part of the fun of playing narrative. You then have campaign-driven, where one mission leads to the next. So any objectives or any additional weapons that your kill team pick up, you can carry to the next. But saying that also, any sort of deficits or any wounds that they've got in one mission carry over to the next, and so forth. And you create your own story arc, and you create your own heroes and a little bit of a backstory behind the kill team that you've got. And there's a lot of fun in that, because you kind of get an attachment to your kill team and certain units in your kill team. And that is one of the main things that is attracting me to this game. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to do, maybe at my local gaming store, set up a one night a week where we do kind of the campaign-driven side of kill team. And then you've got match play. Match play is like even keel, so level playing field. You have a roster where I think you can pick, in your roster you can pick up to 20 units, and then depending on how you sort of divvy up your unit, you'll pick, let's just say you pick 5 units from that roster, and that's your kill team. Your opponent does the same, but the way that it's devised and the way that the rosters and the kill teams have been designed, it's very balanced. It looks balanced. I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error and trying the game. Everything's brand new. Obviously, it's been play tested, but I think that there may be some that might be a little bit more than others. But we're not going to go into that in this video. But generally, it's going to be pretty balanced with the forces. And then you roll for a scenario from, I think there's 9 scenarios that you can roll for. And you play that scenario with the different boundaries and different parameters that you need to adhere to for that scenario. This is going to be the style of play for most tournaments, and from my point of view is another part of the game that I'm really interested in. If I am going to like this game as much as I think I'm going to like it, I'm really going to want to put events on and hold events, and it's in the same vein that I've done with the Middle-earth stuff. It's right up my street. The game style is great. Smaller boards though, lesser numbers, easier to run. And yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm really interested to see if there is a meta on the different kill teams and see if that starts to come out early on, like whether they have to fiddle with the rosters. I'm not too sure. At the minute, I think it looks fine, but we'll see. On a match play as well, just to add, you do like attack ops and things like that, which are like secondary objectives to help you get the VPs. You need to overcome your adversary. So overall, I'm really excited by it, really excited by it. I was excited by the first iteration of Kill Team, and the games that I played I really enjoyed. And I understand that there might have been a few holes in Kill Team and it's started to drop off a little bit, just because I'm still part of certain Facebook groups for Kill Team, even though I never really, you know, played it that much. I was still in them groups and I could still sort of hear the chat that was going on. This rule set feels fresh. It feels like they've slimlined it, but at the same time, there's enough there to keep the most hardened Kill Team player happy from my eyes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it a lot. The miniatures are amazing and are a great sign of things to come. It's event friendly, which is where my head is at the moment, so that suits me. And even though we don't know the price, I have a feeling that this is going to be amazing value, because the box sets that have come out of late from GW have been, you know, the price tag is the price tag, but it's always been very worthwhile buying these boxes for what you get in the box. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. I can't wait to get stuck into it. I'm currently painting up the minis, and then I'm going to jump onto the terrain. I've got a pal of mine who is perusing the rule book to get it down to a T, because he's a lot better than I am at soaking up that information from rules books. And then we're going to have a few games, and then we're going to get some games on camera, which is going to be great. I think it's going to come across really well in the studio when we film it in battle reports. Like I said before, smaller board, lesser numbers, and I can just make it look really sort of thematic and cool with special effects that we can do for the battle reports. So look forward to that. If you're looking forward to it, let me know. Battle reports, is that what you want to see? Do you want to see other stuff? Do you want to see faction reviews? We're going to get the book that's got all the factions in it. Do you want sort of an insight into that? Because my friend who is looking into the rules is a lot more clued up on Kill Team and 40k lore than I am by far, and I'm sure he would be more than happy to pop on and have a little chat about it. So let me know if you want to see that. And events, you know, do you want to see events on Top Table? Do you want to see Kill Team events? Do let me know. Get involved in the chat. Let me know what you think, what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to. Is there anything you're worried about? Just let me know everything that is exciting you at the moment. And yeah, I will see you guys in the chat. That is it from me. Please do not forget to subscribe. It really does help the channel. If you like this video, click the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Now we're allowed back in the studio. We're feeling good about ourselves. I can meet up with people. And yeah, we're out the other side of that black hole that was COVID. Oh, we're getting there anyway. We're in the right way. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.